Hi everyone, welcome to yet another video. Today we will be making this pretty round beaded bag. It is very easy. I always bring the easiest tutorials your way. If this is your first time on my channel, please subscribe and bead this bag with me. To make the bag, you're going to need your beads, of course. I'm using these sugar beads in color black, size 10 mm. They're shiny and they're pretty. You're going to be needing these round bag handles. You can purchase them at any bead market. You can ask for it. You're going to need your cutter, of course, and you're going to need your fishing line. I'm using 0.60 mm fishing lines. Now to begin, I'm going to start by making one side of the bag, which I've already made. So this is the first step of making the bag. We're going to make this flat round circle pattern. It looks pretty, right? That's the first thing we're going to do. And then next we're going to attach a handle to it, and then we're going to join both sides. So yeah, let's begin making this circle. To begin, you're going to cut your fishing line, of course, to a length that you're comfortable working with. Don't be afraid of the fishing line running out. You can always end it and add a new one to begin with. So you're going to take the two ends of the fishing line, and then you're going to pick 6 beads, right? So that's 6 beads, and you're going to pass them through one side of the fishing line, either side of your choice. For this, I'm passing it through the side on my left hand. So you're passing all 6, and then you're going to... So this is the 6 beads, right, that I've passed. Now you're going to cross on the 6th bead, like so. Okay, when you cross on the 6th bead, this is what you're going to have, a nice ring of 6. This is what it looks like. Nice round ring. Now this is going to be the base of our bag. Next, we're going to take 5 beads because we want to go around with more rings of 6. We want to go around making rings of 6. So next, I'm going to take 5 beads, pass them through the thread on my left, and I'm going to cross on the 5th bead. And I'm just going to pull, and this is what I have, a second ring of 6. So now we have 2 rings, and I want to go round the initial ring of 6. So I'm going to pass my thread onto the next bead. That's on the initial ring, the first ring we made. I'm going to pass my thread on the next bead. I had a little tangling there. When I pass my thread, that means my thread is passed through 2 beads currently. So I'm going to take 4 beads, because 2 plus 4 is equals to 6. So I'm going to take 4 beads, and I'm going to pass them through the thread on my left again, and then I'm going to cross on the 4th bead. Okay, I have crossed on the 4th bead. Now I'm going to repeat that process again. I'm going to take the thread and pass it through the next bead on the initial ring of 6, because we are going round that circle. So I'm passing the thread through the next bead. That's the thread to my right. And then I'm taking 4 beads, passing them onto the thread on my left, and crossing on the 4th bead. Now this is going to make a 4th ring of 6. Okay, so the idea is to go round the initial ring of 6, making more rings of 6. So we're going to insert to the next bead, and repeat the same process again until we have gone round the entire pattern. So this first set, we're making rings of 6. That's important to note. So you want to make sure that for every ring that you make, there are 6 beads inside. If it doesn't look right, it's probably because they were not up to 6 beads. So you have to always count, right? If you have 2 beads already passed through, you know you're adding 4. If you have 1 bead passed through, you know you're adding 5. If you have 3 beads passed through, you know that you're adding 3. Now this is the last ring of 6, right? Now instead of passing the thread through just 1 bead, I'm going to pass it through the next 2 beads. You can see that it has some sort of curve pattern right there. So I'm going to pass it through the next 2 beads. Now this means that my thread is going to be passed through 3 beads. So I'm going to be adding how many beads? 3 to make complete a ring of 6. It's just basic math, to be honest, but it's fun. So I'm going to take 3 beads now, and I'm going to close up my ring of 6. I'm crossing on the 3rd bead, and yep, that's what we have. Okay, this is what you should have when you're gone around making rings of 6. This is what your pattern should look like. I beg your pardon. This is what you should have. Well done if you've come this far. Now let's get right into the next step. You're going to pass your thread onto the next bead. Now we're going to go around again, but this time we're not only going to make rings of 6, we're going to make rings of 6, 5, 6, 5, 6, 5 until we go round. So for the first ring, it's going to be a ring of 6. So I'm going to add 4 beads. I'm going to cross on the 4th bead. I cross on the 4th bead, and that's going to give me a ring of 6. Okay, now for the next, I'm going to make a ring of 5. So like I said, it's going to be 6, 5, 6, 5. The first time we just had 6 all the way, but this time around I make 1 ring of 6, 1 ring of 5, 1 ring of 6, that way. So now I pass through 1 bead, and I'm going to add 3 beads to make it a ring of 5. 2, 3, and I'm going to cross on the 3rd bead. Okay, so that's a ring of 5. Next, we're going to be making a ring of 6. Now, if you can notice, there's that curve there again. So when you experience this curve, you're going to pass your thread through the next 2 beads, because the ring is already forming. So you're going to pass your thread through the next 2 beads. And remember, you're making a ring of 6. This means you're going to add 3 beads to this now. I really hope this is making sense. In essence, all you need to make sure is that you're making rings of 6, 5, 6, 5. So we've done 6, 5, 6. Now the next ring is going to be a ring of 5. So 6, 5, 6. Next is going to be a ring of 5. So we're going to pass the thread through the next bead. And we're going to take 3 beads. And we're going to cross on the 3rd bead. Okay, now that's going to give us another ring of 5. You can see we are faced with a curve yet again. So we're going to pass the thread to the next 2 beads. And we're going to add 3 beads to form a ring of 6. Don't forget 6, 5, 6, 5, 6, 5. So we pass it through the curve, and then we're going to take 3 beads. Oops. We're going to take 3 beads. We're going to pass them through the thread on the left and cross on the 3rd bead. Now we're going to continue doing this until we have gone round the entire pattern. that is making rings of 6, 5, 6, 5. You know, I've just done 6, so I'm going to do a ring of 5 next, then a ring of 6. I'm going to do this all the way until I go round. Now, this pattern is going to help you achieve a perfect circle. You know, when we did the ring of 6 at first, it wasn't a circle, it was like a hexagon or something. I don't know what that shape is called. But when you're done with this round of 6, 5, 6, 5, you're going to notice that your pattern is going to give you a pretty perfect circle or round shape, and that's what's going to guide us in completing this side of the bag. So yeah, this is just me speeding up my process of getting my 6, 5, 6, 5 until I get to the end of the circle. Now I'm at the end of the circle and I'm supposed to end with a ring of 5. So I'm faced with a curve. You know, usually you're faced with a curve when it's a ring of 6, but this time around it's a ring of 5. So I'm going to pass through the next 2 beads and I'm going to close it up with just 2 beads because I need a ring of 5, not a ring of 6. The previous was a ring of 6, so this is going to be a ring of 5, as you can see. So that was 6, so this is going to be 5. So I'm just going to add 2 beads and I'm going to cross on the second bead. Okay, and like I said, this is going to give us a perfect circle. Well, not exactly like perfect, but like a round shape. This is what we desire. So we have a round shape. If you've come this far, this is what you should have in your hand. If you have followed the pattern as I explained, you should have your circle round shape. Next step, we're going to go round yet again because we want a bigger circle. This is not big enough. We're going to take 3 beads. This time around, we're going to be making rings of 4. So we began with rings of 6, rings of 6, 5, 6, 5. Now this set, we're making rings of 4. So this is how we begin. We take 3 beads, cross on the 3rd bead, and then next we're going to pass the thread onto 1 bead. Now you're only going to be passing on single beads, no double beads. Just pass on the next 1 bead and you take 2 beads now and cross on the second. Please pay close attention to everything that I'm doing. Now I'm going to take and pass on 1 bead and take 2 beads again. This is just so I make rings of 4 until I go round the entire pattern, making rings of 4. So as you can see, these are smaller rings, so it looks a bit tighter. Okay. Now 2 beads. This is pretty clear and I'm sure everyone will get this part. There isn't much calculation to it. It's just making rings of 4. So you just pass onto the next bead, like so. Then you take 2 beads, pass onto the thread on your left, and cross on the second bead. Now I'm going to do this all the way around, and this is what I have when I've gone all the way around with my rings of 4. As you can see, our circle is a bit bigger now, so we're getting there. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. We want a much bigger circle, so we're going to go around yet again another time because we want a much larger circle. Now the next rings we're going to be making are going to be rings of 5. Okay, so we've just done rings of 4. Now we're making rings of 5. We're going to begin by taking 4 beads like I did, passing them onto the thread on the left and crossing on the 4th bead, and whoop, voila, this is going to give us a ring of 5. And we're going to do this all the way around. We're going to pass the thread through the next bead. Okay, and then we're going to take 3 beads, because we already have 2 right in the ring. So we're just going to take 3 beads and pass them onto the thread on the left, and we're going to cross it. Okay, so that's ring of 5. So we're going to do this all the way around it again. This is practically all we're going to be doing. We're just going to be going round and round and round until we achieve the size that we desire. So this particular set is going to be rings of 5. Just as a reminder, we started with rings of 6, and then we did rings of 6, 5, 6, 5, and then we did rings of 4, and now we're doing rings of 5. Can you guess what the next number of rings is going to be? Don't worry, I'm going to tell you. So now I'm just doing my rings of 5. I'm going all the way around the entire bag until I've gotten to the end. Sometimes these rings of 5, they look funny, but don't worry. As long as you have 5 beads in the ring, you're on the right track. It looks odd sometimes. I'm like, what am I even doing? Is this the right thing? But don't worry. It's fine. As long as you have 5 rings, you're on the right track. I've gone all the way around now, and this is what it looks like when I have gone round with my rings of 5. Okay, can you see how round this bag is? I don't care what you say, this is the perfect circle. In beading, this is the perfect circle. So yeah, this is nice. This is what you should have if you've calculated properly and you have the right amount of rings in each circle. This is what you would have. Next, we're going to be making rings of 6. Okay, so I'm going to be passing the thread onto the next bead to start. Okay, please note that I pass the thread onto the next bead before I start. And I'm going to take 4 beads and I'm going to cross on the 4th bead. The previous rings, I wasn't passing the thread on the next bead before starting. I just started by adding beads. But this ring of 6, don't forget, you have to pass the thread onto the next bead before you start. So I passed it on the next bead. I added 4 beads to give me a ring of 6. Okay, now I'm going to be passing it to the next 2 beads. So I passed the thread on my right to the next 2 beads. 1, 2. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with 3 beads to complete a ring of 6. Okay. And I'm going to cross on the 3rd bead. Okay, so that's my second ring of 6. As you can see, I'm going to go all the way around repeating this process and passing the thread onto the next 2 beads. And then I'm going to add 3 beads and so on until I go around the entire pattern. So like I said, this is different from the other sets. The other sets, you only had to pass through 1 bead alone, but this one, you make sure you pass through 2 beads, like so. And you can see my rings of 6 are forming. This pattern looks so pretty. If you've come this far, you will see how pretty the pattern is. It's really like some sort of flower or something. It's really pretty. So I'm going to keep doing this until I go around the entire pattern, making my rings of 6. Don't worry, we're almost done. This is not the last ring, but we're almost done. We're not satisfied with the size yet. So I'm going to keep going around until I complete my rings of 6 all the way around this pattern. Now this is what I have when I have gone round with my rings of 6. Our pattern looks pretty. We're not satisfied yet, but we have made some progress. So it's not as big as we want. This is just me showing you all the rings we've made. The rings of 6, the rings of 6, 5, 6, 5, the ring of 4, the ring of 5, and just recently the ring of 6. Now we're going to go round again This time, for the last time, we're going to be making rings of 4. This should be easier because you've done it before. We're just going to take 3 beads for a start, and then we're going to cross on the 3rd bead. I mean, this should be easy because you have made rings of 4 before, right? Right before we made rings of 5. We're going to pass on to the next bead. Just 1 bead because these are rings of 4. And then we're going to take 2 beads and cross on the 2nd bead. And we're going to keep doing this until we go around the pattern yet again with our rings of 4. Like I said, this should be easy because you have done it before and you know how it works. So just take your time and keep making rings of 4 until you go around the entire pattern. And this is what we have when we have made our rings of 4. I went ahead to end my thread and cut it. If you don't know how to do that, I have a video on my channel that can guide you. And yeah, remember I showed you the first half I already made ahead of time. So this is the second that I have made. You go ahead and make your second half following the exact same process. It's going to give you 2 round circles, like so. Beautiful pattern. And all we're going to do next is to join these and attach the handles. Well, we're going to attach the handles first before we join it, because it's going to be a struggle if the handles aren't attached yet before joining both sides. Now, to attach our handle, we're going to be attaching it where the very first ring of 4 was. If you can identify it, it's very easy to identify because the circles are smaller. So that's from the middle ring of 6, the ring of 6 5 6 5, and then the ring of 4, right? So that's where we're going to be attaching our handle, where the ring of 4 is. You can just identify anywhere, any parts for now, and then you pass your thread on the bottom bead of the ring of 4. I've just circled it so you can identify it on yours. So I've placed my thread on the bottom bead, right? And I'm going to take 3 beads. I'm going to pass 1 on each side of the thread, and I'm going to cross with the 3rd one. That means I'm going to make a ring of 4. So I'm just going to cross on the 3rd one and pull it. Okay. I'm going to repeat that again. I'm going to take 3 beads. I lost one. I'm going to take 3 beads, pass 1 on each side of the thread, and cross with the 3rd one. Okay, this is because this is what I'm going to use to hook the handle. Now I'm going to take 2 beads only. I'm going to pass 1 on each side of the thread, but I'm not going to cross anyone because I'm going to be crossing it on the pattern. So I'm going to be putting my handle, bag handle, in the middle of the ring of 4. So that's the ring of 4 that we're working with. I'm going to be crossing my thread at the top bead. You know, I started my thread at the bottom bead of the ring of 4. So when I add the handle, I'm going to be crossing my thread on the top bead as I've just shown you. So I'm going to put in my handle in the middle of the pattern, and I'm going to pass the pattern through the handle of the bag, and then I'm going to cross both sides of the thread on that selected bead, which is the top bead of the ring of 4 on the round pattern. Honestly, guys, just watch what I'm doing. I'm sure you would get it. So this is going to keep the handle of the bag in place. I'm just going to pull it tightly. I'm pulling it really tightly Okay, so this is what we have. This is going to stay in place, and I'm just going to pass my thread through the base pattern. I'm just going to pass it to a point where it's going to meet. Then I'm going to do a double knot, and then I'm going to pass it some more and then cut it. That double knot is just so that I am extra sure that my pattern is firm and my bag handle isn't going to, come off one day and surprise me. So I'm just going to do a double knot, a tight double knot, and I'm going to hide the knot under one bead, and I'm just going to pass the thread some more into the pattern of the bag and cut it when I'm comfortable. And this is what we have. We've attached our bag handle. So nice and easy. I'm going to be replicating this on the other half of the bag at another angle. Yeah, that's what we have. I've done this on both sides of the bag, and this means that I'm ready to attach both sides of the bag. And this is just me calculating where the handle stopped and where I want to start attaching the bag. So I just counted 4 beads away from the handle, right? 5 beads actually. After 4 beads, the next bead, which is the 5th bead, to be honest. So yeah, I counted 5 beads after the handle. That is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is where I'm going to bead to attach the second side. You can feel free to start from anywhere, to be honest. This is just what I felt was right, or what I was comfortable with. Alright, so I'm going to start beading the side of the bag. When I get to a specific height, then I'm going to join the second half of the bag. Now, to bead this, I'm going to be making rings of 4. I'm beading round, not round completely per se, but just like a semicircle, so that I can have an opening at the top. Now, this is me starting from where I calculated, which is the 5th bead after the handle of the bag. Now I'm going to be making rings of 4 and going round. I'm sure we must all remember how we made our rings of 4. This is exactly what I'm going to be doing. But this time around, we're building the side of the bag. So this is just me passing the thread onto the next bead. And I'm going to add 2 beads and cross on the second. Okay, so this is the side of our bag, guys, that we're building. We're just going to build it with rings of 4, cross on the second bead, and we're going to repeat this till we get to the opposite side. Now we have gotten to the end, which is the opposite side where I want it to end. That is the 5th bead after the handle of the bag at the opposite side. So like I said, this is us building the side of our bag. Now once you get to the end, you're going to want to bead another layer. So just in case you do not know, I'm going to show you how you're going to turn this to start beading yet another layer. Now, instead of, you're still going to keep adding 2 beads, but you're going to add 2 beads on the opposite thread, right? Because you want the pattern to turn. So when you add the 2 beads on the opposite thread, you're going to see that the thread is going to be facing up instead of facing sideways. Now you're now going to begin another line by adding 3 beads and crossing on the 3rd bead. Okay, so now we're going to start a second layer of the side of the bag. And yeah, you're just going to continue your pattern. All the way, and you're going to do this. I think I did this 4 times. This is what I had when I was done. This is what I had, depending on how wide you want the side of your bag to be. You're just going to 1, 2, 3, 4. I actually did it 5 times. So this is a really wide bag. A lot can fit in here. So I did this 5 times, and now I'm going to attach the second side of the bag so that we can now close up our bag. Look how pretty it's looking already. Now to attach the second side of the bag, I'm just going to count, because it has to be at the exact same place where the side starts. So remember, we counted 5 beads, right? So on the 5th bead from the handle, that's where I'm going to begin joining the bag from. So I'm going to identify that bead. I've just identified it. And then I'm going to take 2 beads, right? I'm going to add 1 bead on the left thread. Then I'm going to pass the thread through that bead that I've identified as the beginning of our side. And then I'm going to pass the next second bead that I picked and cross on it. This is going to begin joining both sides of the bag so that we can close it up and have our pretty bag done. Okay. I'm going to pull that, and next I'm just going to pass the thread, both sides of the thread, onto the next beads ahead of them. I'm going to do this on both sides of the thread. So I'm passing both threads onto the next bead. And then I'm going to take just 1 bead and I'm going to cross on it. I'm going to cross and I'm going to pull it tightly. See, it has begun joining our bag. This was a little bit difficult to record, but I did it anyway. So we're just going to do the same thing again. We're going to pass both sides of the thread on to the next beads ahead. And then we're going to take 1 bead and cross on it. Now we're going to repeat this until we have completely joined both sides together and closed up this opening, passing the thread onto both sides, both beads ahead rather, and then crossing on just 1 single bead. And we're going to keep doing that. This is pretty straightforward. Just to join it, make sure you pull your thread tightly after you cross on the single bead. You want to pull your thread really tight. And you do that all the way, and this is what you're going to have when you have joined it together. I went ahead to sew a satin pouch like so. If you want to learn how to do this, let me know in the comments and I would post a tutorial. So I inserted this satin pouch into the bag to make it prettier and to conceal whatever you want to put in your bag, to be honest. And this is just what we had. It's a very, very pretty bag. It's black, so you can wear it on anything. But you could also use any color beads of your choice and enjoy your bag. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Bye.